Who said men don't like books written by women or with female main protagonists? Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Jose here, welcoming you to finally, yes, another episode of Amazing Worlds in the hottest days of the summer here in Spain. This is unbearable, but ready, prepared to discuss the Liveship Traders Trilogy by American author Robin Hobb. So here it is. I've been reading during the summer Liveship Traders, which is the second series, the second trilogy, set in the realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb, comprised of 3 books: Ship of Magic, The Mad Ship, and finally Ship of Destiny. Now, for a bit of context, so this is the second trilogy in the realm of the Elderlings. It takes place a few years or at some point in the future after the events in the Farseer trilogy. Check out my video if you haven't done so already. It's one of the first videos I ever recorded for the channel, so it's probably quite cringe-worthy, and the production, not that it has improved much, but probably won't be as good as this one now. But anyway, give it a check. So, it takes place, as I said, a few years later, completely new set of characters and a complete change of setting. So we move away from the 6 duchies and the Mountain Kingdom into a new part of the world there. So we are in the Bay of Bingtown, which is like a traders, merchants sort of sea coastal town. We're also introduced to the mystical Rainwild River and its weird inhabitants there and the relationship they have with the people from Bingtown. And as well, we also deal with the Chalked or Chalst states and Jamelia, I suppose, which is where the main sort of seat of power of the satrap is. Okay, and you got the map there. So events in the Farseer trilogy are vaguely referenced at the very end of the 3rd book, so you can very much, if you want, read Liveship Traders on its own without having the need to read Farseer beforehand. So we follow a family of traders from Bingtown when the main point of the story is that these merchants have got these ships, they call the liveships, and when a 3rd generation owner of the family that owns the ship dies on deck, the boat comes to life. So the figurehead at the prow of the boat becomes sentient, interacts, it becomes sort of its own character in the story. And sort of it sails really well because it knows the seas. It's got the memories of all the prior generations that have passed through the boat, and it's like a kick-ass type boat thing. And that's the extent of the magic in this series. So all the magic that we were introduced to in Farseer is not present here. So here, all it is that in the first few pages of the book, the ship comes to life, and that's it. There's no magic. This magic's gone. That's it. There's nothing more. So if you're looking for a series because you really enjoy magic systems or magic users or whatever, this is not for you. It's not here. It doesn't happen. Right. Like I said, so we follow the Vestrit family, and we have Ronica, who is like the grandmother, like the matriarch of the family, and her daughters Kefria and Althea, who are at odds with each other all the time. Althea is the sort of this freewheeling wild spirit who wants to be captain of the family boat, but because she's a woman, she cannot be type thing. And Kefria has got a daughter and a son. The daughter, Malta, is a really sort of bratty, annoying, sort of becoming a teenager, wanted to be a woman, grow up too quickly type girl, which should be a hideous character. She actually is a hideous character for the most of the series, actually. But I found myself that someone like me should actually hate and dislike and want to go through the chapters where she is the main POV character and get rid of her because I can say, but I actually found myself quite interested in her story. So there you go. Robin Hobb does write very good characters in this series. And we also follow Althea, like I said. And on the side, I'm going to try to do a spoiler-free review here. There's a pirate, Captain Kenneth, a pirate who wants to become king of the Pirate Isles. He wants to have his own kingdom, be a pirate king type thing. And paths merge across mysteries in the past. What's going on? So all of that is happening. Another one of the characters that I couldn't care any less about him is Kyle Haven, who is Carefree's husband, who is not from Bingtown. He's from outside of Bingtown, and he's got different ideas on how the family should run the trade and the life ship and what they should do with it. And I found with Kyle Haven, who is kind of your antagonist type thing. I mean, he's not an evil guy, but he's there to create tension, friction. I'm really sorry. My opinion about what I'm going to say, Robin Hobb cannot write a credible antagonist. I'm really sorry. I'm just going to put this out there. Because it's the same issue I had in Liveship Trilogy, where your main antagonist does and says stupid things for the sake of being evil or for the sake of being the antagonist. And I had the same issue with Kyle Haven in the Liveship Traders. That just because he's there to create tension and friction, he doesn't say stupid things. And when things are so obvious that hitting him in the face, he does not see them. He's still a stubborn mule pushing forward with his stupid ideas. Like, mate, this is stupid. Why you got? And he still goes on about it. So I found him really irritating. Luckily, at some point in the series, he kind of disappears, and it just made the reading experience a lot more enjoyable. So yeah, I think my criticism of the series here is that there's no credible antagonist. Because even Captain Kenneth, the Pirate King, he's not really an antagonist. You kind of really sort of go along with him and you get sucked into his story, and he kind of does make sense in what he's doing, even though he's not a very nice person at all. But, he's a likable rogue, maybe, or that type of thing. He does some really messed up stuff, but you go, he's really an a-hole. But it's good. It's all right. Okay. The fantasy elements are there, much more prevalent than in Liveship. So we've got sea serpents, dragons, sea serpents. There's a bit more mythical creatures going on there. There's a bit of mystery. So the plot does revolve about the relation. It's a very character-driven story. So it's the relationship between the characters that drives the plot. There is no action at all. Robin Hobb can't or won't write action scenes, and I think it's clearly a deliberate choice. So there is a subplot there that is only hinted at, and I found that wasn't developed as well as it could have, should have, or I would have wanted to. There's a subplot, there's a coup d'etat, there's a sort of rebellion, there's a sort of like trying to get rid of the satrap and take over the civil war type thing. But that's all told off-page, referenced, and even when there is a big battle and action, it happens off-page. And in the next paragraph, one of the main characters appears with a sword drenched in blood. So you've missed all the action, you don't get to see. There's just, no. Very little. There's some bits. Sea serpents attacking there's some bits, but the main actions, the main sort of fight scenes, Robin Hobb stays clear from them. Maybe if that's an acknowledgement that that's not her strong point, I applaud that. There you go. Right. As I said, there's a sense of mystery. There's a sense of like you want to dig round in the background of these rain wild people. So that basically the background story is that this area of Bingtown is called the Cursed Shores. It's a horrible place where no one wants to live, and they were given grants of land to settle down, and some people went up the rain wild river, and these people are deformed, and there's something in the air, there's something in the water, where they have to cover their faces with veils and become all sort of horrible, creepy looking people, but they are very rich, and they trade all the sort of precious material, stones, all the stuff with the Bingtown people, and they got close ties. And they are the ones that build the life ships, and life ships are so expensive that the families that buy the life ship enter into a massive debt that they have to pay with money or in blood. As in if they haven't got money, they have to give away some of their descendants to go and live in the rain wells and procreate and maintain the line of the rain well people, because mortality there is so high. So it's a bit dark. There's a bit of mystery. Why is that happening? Why is that the case? That I found very enjoyable and made me sort of really want to read and found really engaging. Having said that, the series clocks shy of 3,000 pages, so the pace can be a bit slow. Probably could have been told in less pages, but I didn't think that there was anything in excess. That seems a bit contradictory what I'm just saying. But that it gives the characters room to breathe and develop, and some of them, particularly sort of the younger the women in the family, the bigger the change and the progression and the turn of character is. So Ronica, the grandmother, she goes through a lot in the story, but it doesn't really affect her character or personality. Carefree does change. Althea not so much, and then Malta goes through a massive change. It's done because they've been given that space to grow and react to events and be proactive about events as well. It feels fairly natural, and it's done in what I consider to be a very satisfying manner. In terms of the story, book 1, The Ship of Magic, is tragedy is a three-part act, isn't it? So book 1 that set out the scene and the plot and what's happening. And there's a bit of a mystery there. Book 2 is sort of like your middle bit, obviously. What a pointless comment I just made. Book 2, I described in my notes, book 2 is the feminist book. It is a feminist book. Most of your main characters are women, and it's about how women try to fit in and deal with a male-dominated environment. So Althea wants to be a captain of a trading ship, but that's not the thing, and she's trying to do that and gain the respect of the sailors and deal with the harsh environment. But I think that Robin Hobb is aware, controversial. Some people may find this controversial. I don't know, that men and women are different. Yeah, some people struggle with that. So it is reflected in that it's not, on average, I'm a maths teacher, so there's the risk of generalizing, but on average, men are stronger than women. Not all men are stronger than all women, but on average, men are stronger than women. So when Althea is working on the boat and she's trying to do the physical stuff, that she realizes herself that she's not as strong as the men. And therefore, how is she going to deal with that? How is she going to she cannot match the men in physical strength. What can she do to gain her place? And, I think that's a very sort of realistic take on the subject. So book 2 is the feminist book. Malta is this, as I said, this horrible, girl. It's all about dresses, going to balls, meeting men, horrible kind of girl. If that was okay, which is not, I suppose. I don't hit children. I'm a teacher. I should edit that out. I don't know. Anyway, so but she grows up during the series to be a strong, independent woman. It's to the point where she gets into trouble, and her lover goes to rescue her, but she's rescued herself. She's been, but no. I mean, it's kind of a bit silly. The guy arrives in a dragon to rescue her. She's rescued herself. She's used her wits to rescue herself. maybe that's the character, because she's got the strongest growth story in the series. Is the one that maybe is a little bit less credible. Is the one that obviously needs a lot more work for it to happen. But it doesn't screech. Well, at least for me, I didn't feel that it did. So it's okay. I was okay with that, and she becomes a much more likable character towards the end of the series. And she does grow up, and she starts to see things from a much more mature perspective. Now, the question, is Liveship Traders better than Farseer Trilogy? Yes, I think so. I think it's a more solid, more satisfying is a word I keep referring to in my reviews when I talk about the ending of the series, but it is well executed. It's got some very well written, strong characters, and the story, even though it shies away from the big moments and the big battles, the mystery and the suspense elements are very well executed. You do like all characters, save for antagonists. I've already talked about that. So I would actually recommend reading Liveship Traders. Now, it can be read on its own, and I think if you just want to dip your toes in the realm of the Elderlings and Robin Hobb's work, probably me now, I would say if you were to pick one of the first two trilogies, I would pick Liveship over Farseer. Only thing is, Farseer has got the stronger characters in Fits and the Fool. But as a story, I think Liveship is a stronger, solid, more consistent, well-executed story. The other question that you should be asking yourself is, well, I've read Farseer. I really like the characters of Fits and the Fool, just like I experienced when I read it first time. Can I skip Liveship and go into the Townyman trilogy? Now, I debated with myself about this because I didn't feel like, I don't want to, get to know new characters, new places. But the hints in this book are strong. There is an overarching story throughout the whole of Robin Hobb's opus in the realm of the Elderlings. So all the stories connect. So I suspect for the final payoff, it does work a lot better if you read through all the stories chronologically. So now, I've read Farseer, I've read Liveship. Before the end of the year, I would like to read the Townyman trilogy, which is the next one. Yes, before reading the final trilogy, the Fits and the Fool trilogy, set in this world, I would read the 4-book series, the Rainwild Chronicles. Again, it's not one of those where I really want to, but I suspect that to get the enjoyment of the finishing part of the story in Fits and the Fool, it would be important to read Rainwild Chronicles and to get the overall perspective of the story and what Robin Hobb was trying to achieve here. And I think this is it for me. I mean, there's a few things I haven't mentioned. There's the Amber character. She's some sort of prophet there. And why is she a prophet? Where does she know certain things? That is not explained at all. That irritated me. However, I'm willing at the moment to leave that aside, and maybe that will be explained in later installments of the series in the subsequent trilogies. A bit like the Fool was in Farseer. It's like, why is this character like this? Where does it come from? What is he? Maybe with Amber, there's a similar story there. But also, I want to stress, don't take away that this is a feminist book. It's not third wave feminist. Thank God for that. It's just well-written characters that happen to be female. There's also male characters. There's Brush and Trail, Althea's love interest, and Winthrop, which is Kefia's son, brother, naturally, to Malta. So no, it's just mostly sort of female led story. As I said, they're well written, they are engaging characters. I don't have any problem with that, and no one should have a problem with it. No one that is normally in the head, I suppose. But yeah, so this is what I've got for you today. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, spread the message, spread the love. Thank you very much to new subscribers. I will give a shout out possibly in the next video, calling up by name. Some of you, I get a name when you subscribe. Some of you, the count goes up. I don't know who you are. So anyway, thank you. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Stay safe. Stay happy. Stay cool. It's really hot here. Take lots of care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.